Some shots were never meant to air, clips appearing on the timeline that no one on the crew remembers filming, but they exist, silently, chillingly, always waiting to be played. When you're alone, with every light turned off. Tonight you'll follow 3 film crews, where the camera stops being a tool and becomes the final witness to things that shouldn't exist. 3 stories, 3 endings no one saw coming. And after watching, you might never look at a camera the same way again. If these stories tap into something deep inside your fear, if you believe that what's been forgotten can still be told through the faint red light on a cold metal body, then hit subscribe to join us. Every subscription, every watching eye is a part of this chilling journey. And from the bottom of our hearts, thank you for being here and for daring to watch. Logan Hayes was never afraid of being alone, especially not in the editing room. He was the type who could sit for hours in front of a timeline without saying a word. Only the sound of clicking, the soft whir of a hard drive, and the bluish glow of the monitor made him feel safe. Tonight was no different. 11:47 p.m. The office was empty. His last project of the night. A rough cut for a documentary shot in an old Millridge nursing home. Logan chewed the last bite of a cold sandwich, sipped thick black coffee, and plugged in the USB. Nothing unusual. Empty rooms. The elderly in wheelchairs. Nurses are being interviewed. All mundane, outdated, and a little sleepy. Until Logan dragged the clip cam3night.mp4 into the timeline. He stopped at second 23. A blurry shot, hallway corner. Weak lighting, the camera shook slightly. But at the end of the hallway stood a figure. A woman. Back turned. Wearing a white dress. Arms hanging loosely. The camera zoomed slowly. There was no crew member in that shot. She wasn't listed anywhere in the log sheet. Logan rewound, paused, zoomed in. The figure remained still, unmoving. He opened another clip. Int room 01.mp4. Different room, different time. But this time, the woman stood behind the camera. So close, she almost pressed into the lens, eyes wide open, face pale. And Logan realized she didn't blink. A chill ran down his spine. He pushed his chair back, looked at the office door, slightly ajar. Where was the wind coming from on the 4th floor of a sealed building? The computer buzzed softly. The timeline scrolled on its own. No one touched the mouse. And in the middle of the screen, a new file appeared. Hello Logan.mp4. Logan hesitated. The cursor quivered on the screen like the computer itself was unsure. Hello Logan.mp4 had no creation date. It wasn't in the footage folder. It wasn't on the USB. It appeared by itself. He clicked. Grainy footage, distorted feed. The screen was dark, but not fully black. A familiar room slowly came into view. The very editing room where Logan was sitting. The camera was positioned from a high angle pointing directly at his desk. The blue glow of the screen, the coffee cup, his own back. Logan held his breath. The video showed the present moment. Every gesture, every move was perfectly synchronized. He turned to look around, then back at the screen, still showing a top-down angle. No camera was installed on the ceiling, no mirrors, no lens. Yet someone, or something, was filming him from an impossible angle. He yanked the network cable, disabled Wi-Fi. The video kept playing. In the footage, his back remained at the desk. But now, he wasn't alone. A shadow stood behind him, undefined, warped like a glitched signal. It had no legs, no face. But slowly, it raised a hand and placed it on Logan's shoulder in the video. He jumped up. The chair clattered back. The room lights flickered twice, then died. In the darkness, only the monitor glowed, and within it, the shadow's hand still rested on his shoulder. Logan reached for the power button. No response. The screen changed to another video, a ceiling cam shot from a hospital room in the nursing home. An old woman sat on a bed, back turned, whispering to a man in protective gear. Logan recognized the man. It was the project's director, Rick Mullins. Rick had died 3 months ago in a car crash, but here he was alive, standing still, facing the camera, eyes blank. The woman kept whispering. Suddenly, Rick turned, stared straight into the lens. His lips moved, saying something, but there was no sound. Logan maxed the volume. A soft, static buzz. Then a deep voice rang out, not from any mouth, but from the editing room speaker system. "You shouldn't have opened it." The lights came back on. The screen flashed a burning red message. Rendering final version. 67%. Logan lunged for the door and twisted the handle. It wouldn't budge. The magnetic lock, which was only supposed to lock from the inside, now clicked with a strange sound, as if someone outside had taken control. He pounded on the door, shouting, "Is anyone out there? Open the door." No response. Only the hum of the server racks behind him was growing louder, like whispers, dozens of hard drives murmuring to one another. Logan turned back. Render, 84%. On the second monitor, one that had never been used to play anything, a new video was running. No file name, no timeline, just playing. In the footage, a gray room, cracked walls, a stained concrete floor with old blood marks. In the center, a metal chair with restraints, and in it was Logan. Not past footage, not some edited scene. It was Logan, wearing exactly what he was wearing now, head down, bruised eyes, and mouth taped shut. He trembled, stepped back. No, this can't be. Suddenly, the video zoomed slowly into the face of Logan on screen. His eyes opened slowly. Then, as if realizing he was being filmed, that other Logan looked straight into the lens and smiled. No, not his smile. It was someone else's smile, wearing his face. "You've been replaced," the voice said, this time not through the speaker, but right beside Logan's ear, inside the room. He spun around. No one. Every screen in the room turned on, displaying footage that had never been shot. Logan is asleep at the desk, a shadow standing next to him. Logan entering an elevator, but the reflection in the mirror was someone else. Logan walking down a hallway, but the shadow on the floor didn't match his steps. Cold sweat soaked through his back. Logan screamed, grabbed the laptop, and smashed it to the floor, shattering it. Everything went dark. For a few seconds, the room was completely black, except for one blinking red LED on the editing rig, pulsing like a heartbeat. Then, a click. The door opened. No one was outside. Logan ran. Out of the studio, into the elevator, out of the building without looking back once. But when he got home, he opened his laptop to check the backup. A new file was being copied, though he wasn't connected to the internet. The file name was Final Cut Logan v2.mp4. Logan didn't open the file. He sat motionless before his laptop, hand clenched around the mouse but not clicking. The file, Final Cut Logan v2.mp4, sat there, like a dead eye, waiting to be touched. 12:14 a.m. He shut the laptop, unplugged it. For the first time in years, Logan decided to do nothing. He wanted to sleep. Forget everything. Let this become a digital sleepwalk. But at 3:06 a.m., his phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number. The file has been uploaded. "You're live now." He grabbed his phone. On YouTube, the company's channel had just posted a video automatically. The title, "Final Cut, in Memory of Logan Hayes." The thumbnail showed his face, black and white, eyes vacant. Logan opened the video. The frame appeared, the editing room, the ceiling cam angle, exactly like that night's footage. Inside, Logan sat, eyes wide open, unblinking, not speaking, not moving, as if he were dead, but still alive. A version of him, preserved to be watched forever. In the video description, there was only one line: "Don't edit what was never yours to begin with." He trembled. Delete the video? Impossible. The account no longer had access rights. Delete the file from his laptop? It was gone. The webcam light turned on, even though the laptop was shut. In the hallway, the stairwell light flickered non-stop. And somewhere behind the door came the sound of clicking, again and again, as if someone was editing him. Logan stepped out of the room, but the camera kept rolling, still playing, still showing Logan sitting there. And if you open that video again at 3:06, you might see him turn and look straight at you. The film school required the final project to be real, bold, and original. So the senior students of the directing class chose a rather ambitious location, an abandoned church on the outskirts of Shady Hollow, once the site of a mysterious roof collapse in 1989. No one died, but ever since, the congregation left and never came back. "We're the first crew to film here in over 30 years, Scott, the director and team leader, announced excitedly. Everyone laughed, but no one felt truly at ease. It was a hauntingly beautiful set, worn down and eerie. The ceiling cracked open. Sunlight pierced through shattered stained glass, casting colored light over a rotting pulpit. The air reeked of mold mixed with dust, and something sour. The crew, 6 people, set up 3 primary cameras around the nave to film a continuous, uncut scene. Each camera was fixed on a tripod and clearly labeled. By the afternoon, they began test shots. Cameras A, B, and C worked smoothly. After 2 hours, they took a break and started transferring raw footage from the memory cards to the backup drive. That's when they found it. Cam D, a folder that wasn't in the log. It contained video files identical in format to the others, but no one recalled setting up camera D. Scott thought it was a hardware glitch. But when they opened the first clip, everyone fell silent. The shot, a high angle from the church balcony, a place no one had climbed, where no camera had been installed. The lens pointed down at the main floor, capturing the entire team during their filming session. Each member recorded without any awareness that they were being watched from above. At the end of the video, the camera slowly zoomed in on each of their faces. Then, in the final seconds, the frame shook slightly, not from wind, but from something passing behind the lens, casting a shadow across the entire scene. Maybe it's from a crew that filmed here before? Brandon, the lead cameraman, offered, trying to sound calm, but everyone knew no one had shot here before. The building had been sealed since the 90s, only temporarily cleared for access in the past 3 days. Scott zoomed in on the Cam D footage. The image was sharper than camera A. The framing is too perfect, as if someone knew exactly how the scene would unfold. Strangest of all, the clip ran nearly an hour, but had no sound, no dropped props, no dialogue, no footsteps, only image. And that ending, where the camera zoomed into each crew member's face. Close-ups of their eyes, their expressions. None of them smiled, though in the original footage they had. Maybe it's a sync error with the audio, Jamie, the sound guy, said, but even he didn't believe it. Scott rewound. At 43:17, there was movement in the upper left corner. A figure, short, passed along the hallway just as no one was watching. The face wasn't clear, but it seemed to be looking down at them, through something. When they moved on to the second video, the room's temperature noticeably dropped. Clip Cam D002, recorded while the team was setting up that morning. But something was off. The people in the clip behaved differently. Jamie specifically, in the video, he climbed the balcony, looked around, and set up a camera. No one remembered him doing that. "No, I never went up there," Jamie stammered. But the video was clear. It was him. Brown hoodie, shoulder print slightly crooked, exactly what he was wearing. Scott froze the frame, zoomed in step by step, no effects, no editing. Jamie, or something wearing his image, had set up camera D. Suddenly, the screen went black. A message appeared. "We remember what you filmed, but do you remember what you didn't?" All memory cards were ejected from the USB hub. The hard drive beeped rhythmically, like a heartbeat. All the lights in the room flickered, then died. In the dark, someone exhaled softly. A faint sound, like fingernails tapping metal, echoed from the balcony above. Scott shined his flashlight upward. Nothing. But something was casting a silhouette on the ceiling glass. A small figure, standing still, not moving. Didn't need to move, because whatever it was had been watching them for a very, very long time. The team packed up their gear that very night. Scott, usually the calmest among them, was now silent. His hands trembled slightly as he unplugged each cable, eyes never leaving the balcony where they had seen the shadow. "We're deleting everything when we get back. No one talks about this," he said, voice stiff. No one objected. But when Brandon opened his laptop to check the footage again, the folder name had changed. From Project Final to Them Watching Us. No one had renamed it. No one dared to open it. Instead, Jamie, the one seen setting up the camera, quietly walked outside. He didn't say a word. By the time Scott realized he was missing, the group had scattered, frantically searching the church grounds. They found Jamie standing in the middle of the old pulpit, alone, his back turned, as if in a trance. When Brandon placed a hand on his shoulder, Jamie slowly turned, eyes completely white, no pupils. And on the back of his hoodie, where the logo used to be, was a small pitch-black camera embedded into his skin. No wires, no battery, no visible lens. It had grown from his body. Jamie collapsed as they pulled him away. His body was still warm, but his pulse was fading. Scott's phone vibrated violently. No calls. Just a new video, sent directly to his device from his own Google account. He opened it. The clip was only 15 seconds long. A shot. No one had filmed. Not at the church. It was his dorm room. A ceiling cam angle. Scott, asleep. But in the video, a face identical to Scott's sat at the edge of the bed, staring down at him. No blinking. No breathing. "That's me. But I wasn't..." Scott choked on his words. Brandon, shaking, opened the backup drive. A video sequence was reconstructed automatically without editing software. The timeline scrambled, clips shuffled. But there was one thing in common. In every new shot, someone stood just at the edge of the frame, sometimes at the doorway, sometimes reflected in glass, sometimes beneath the table. No one in the group recognized the figure, but the more they watched, the more certain they became. He was getting closer with every frame. Brandon backed away. Behind him, right on the screen, a new scene appeared. A shot from directly behind his head. Live. No one was recording. No camera had been turned on. But the footage kept rolling, and someone was still behind the lens. The following week, Directing 407 was removed from the system. No notice, no explanation. The professor resigned. The group's shared Google Drive account was permanently locked for violation of sensitive media policy. Brandon, the last to stay in contact, vanished after sending Scott an email at 2:11 a.m. I tried deleting it, but it copied itself to another drive. I dreamt of the camera, but it wasn't on a tripod. It stood on legs. The last line of the email. The final footage renamed itself to finalcutus.mp4. Did you see anyone in it? Smile? No one ever replied to that email. The story faded. The film project was never submitted. But a few weeks later, on an underground short film forum, an anonymous account posted an 11-minute video. No title, no info. The footage showed a group of film students at an old church. They set up gear, laughed, and tested lighting. But in the final minute, the camera shifted angles. No students remained. Only 6 empty chairs, each with a name on the back, like a movie set. And on every chair, a recording camera, red light blinking, aimed directly at the viewer. Dim lighting, no sound. But at the end, a single line appeared. We finished editing their part. Now, it's your turn. A week later, the video vanished. But if you search at exactly 3 a.m., it might reappear, and the camera in front of you may turn on by itself. Miranda Geller didn't believe in omens until the entire crew heard someone yell, "Cut!" from within the forest, and no one on set had said it. It was day 2 of the reality series project The Edge, a survival show shooting its new season at Ash Rock National Park, a remote nature reserve known for its towering pine forests and near-total lack of cell signal. Miranda, 36, was the lead director and executive producer, experienced in managing remote shoots. She was used to the buzz of insects, falling leaves, and the occasional animal call. But something here felt different. That afternoon, they were filming a contestant crossing a stream. Miranda stood behind the monitor, earpiece snug in her ear. She shouted, "Action!" The camera moved. Everything was normal. When the tape ended, she said, "Cut!" But right after her command, from deep in the forest, came a second cut. Same voice. But not from the radio. Not an echo. No one is repeating her. It came from the woods precisely a few seconds after hers. The crew looked at each other. Some laughed nervously. "Probably an echo," the sound tech muttered. Miranda checked the radio, turned it off, then back on. "Did anyone repeat the cut command?" she asked over the tech channel. No response. No one was holding a mic. Later, reviewing the footage, Miranda noticed, in the final few frames, as the camera panned toward the forest, a dark figure stood between 2 trees, motionless, not part of the crew, no reflective gear, no production clothing, just standing there, in the forest, in the shot, as if also directing. They didn't film that night. Miranda called for an early wrap, citing low forest light conditions. But everyone knew something wasn't right, especially after the cut from the woods. That night, the crew camped by the lake, the only open area with spotty radio reception. Josh, the lighting tech, tried to lighten the mood with beer and ghost stories. "Maybe it was a lost hunter," Josh laughed, throwing his head back. "Or another director, filming our lives for his reel." Someone chuckled. but no one believed it was a joke. Around 2 a.m., Miranda woke up to footsteps, not hurried, but steady. The steps didn't come from the path. They circled her tent. She held her breath, listening. A faint scratching sound, like nails brushing against the tent fabric. Miranda gripped her flashlight, bolted upright. Opened the flap. No one. The next morning, Josh didn't come out of his tent. They found it unzipped, but empty. No footprints, no signs of a struggle. Just his headlamp on the ground, still on, shining directly at a tree trunk, where someone had carved faint lettering into the bark. Scene 2, Take 1, Josh exiting. Miranda froze. It was a call sheet notation, a scene slate. No one touched the marking. But when they reviewed the previous day's footage, the last take before wrapping, in the frame, Josh was setting up lights near the forest's edge, and someone or something stood with its back to the camera right behind him. Long back, straight arms, no hair, no clear head, but seemingly holding something shaped like a camera rig. Miranda rewound. As Josh walked out of frame, before he disappeared, he turned back to the camera and said something that wasn't in the script. "You know this camera doesn't belong to us, right?" That line wasn't written. No one recalled him saying it, but his expression was dead serious. Miranda stepped away from the monitor. The laptop's glow cast her face in pale green. She gave the order. "No more filming. Shut everything down. We leave now." But as the crew dismantled gear, they found something no one had set up. A seventh camera, placed in the woods. Its red light is still blinking. And inside the memory card, a single file named joshfinal.mp4. Miranda locked herself inside the command tent, laptop screen glowing bright in the still night. She inserted the memory card from the seventh camera into her device, trembling as she opened the file. joshfinal.mp4. It opened with shaky footage of Josh's hand, flashlight beam wobbling through the canopy. His breath was ragged. He mumbled, "I don't want to act anymore. I didn't write this scene." The screen jolted. Suddenly, the camera flipped, as if dropped to the ground, and in the final frame, the light shone on a tall, lanky figure, long arms, holding a camera. It didn't move, only slowly tilted its head. The video cut out. Miranda closed the file, but the laptop froze. A new file appeared on the screen. Script revised final.pdf. She opened it. It was the script for The Edge, but something was wrong. The content had completely changed. Every page no longer contained contestant dialogue, but detailed descriptions of each disappearance. Crew members were listed as the cast. Page 8 read, Scene 7, Josh, abandoned, camera captures regret. Page 9, Scene 8, Miranda, denial, writes her death out of script. Frantically, she flipped to the last page. It was blank, except for one line of typed text. Scene 9, only one walks out, cut to black. Outside the tent, the remaining crew was arguing. Some wanted to leave immediately. Others couldn't find their GPS. Miranda burst out, screaming, "Pack everything! We're not filming anymore. We're being filmed." As they began disassembling the gear, they discovered something else. Each camera had a script page clipped to the back. No one remembered putting them there. The crew gathered. Scott, the assistant director, whispered, "I read my page. It says, I fall into the ravine at 3:13. Who wrote this?" No one claimed the file. No one dared tear the paper, and when they checked the time, it was 3:07. Scott took a step back. The ground crumbled. A scream echoed. Then, silence. Someone among them began to sob. Miranda turned. Camera 4 was slowly rotating, its lens pointed straight at her. Then, from the distance, as if echoing from deep in the forest, cut. But this time, no one spoke. It wasn't an echo. It was a command. The scene had ended, and only one person would get to write the rest of the script. 3 weeks later, a 2-minute video suddenly appeared on the homepage of the Edge's channel. The series, still in pre-production. No title. No one from the team had uploaded it, but it reached over 40,000 views within hours. It began with rapid cut shots, shaky cameras in the woods, gasping breaths, figures running through the trees. Then, 6 faces, 6 crew members. Each is looking directly into the camera, no words, no blinking. The final frame was Miranda, standing alone in the forest, in front of the camera. She wore her director's jacket, but instead of a name badge on her chest, the word subject was printed in bold. She spoke, voice flat, eyes bloodshot. I didn't write this script, but I'm the last one who remembers it. Then the video ended. No music, no credits, no tags. When the production company tried to locate the original file to delete it, they found it wasn't hosted on any server. It only broadcasts at 3:06 a.m. each day, then vanished. Some curious viewers managed to download copies, but when slowed down, they noticed something strange. In every shot, a figure stood behind the camera, tall, faceless, unmoving. At the end of the trailer, at frame 347, it slowly turned its head, looking directly out of the frame, out into the theater, out through the screen, out at you. The only remaining comment under the video came from a user named CutABlack01. We don't need more actors, we just need more viewers. 3 stories have ended. 3 cameras have stopped rolling. But if you're hearing this, maybe one scene hasn't been cut yet. Maybe it lives in your mind, where you wonder, what happens after the line cut to black? If you have thoughts, feelings, or a creepy story you've experienced, leave a comment. We read every one, and who knows, the next story might come from you. Don't forget to hit like if you feel the camera should keep rolling, and subscribe so each week, when the lights go out and the shadows begin to creep in, you'll be the first to see the frames no one dares to cut. We're here, we're rolling, and you. Are you ready?